So as we think about impact, the delta of your involvement, right? How things get better or worse based off of you being involved in that situation, that will be directly correlated with the culture that you personally embrace.
Welcome to Impact and Fulfillment with Coach Mike D, where you'll gain practical wisdom and dynamic insight from amazing conversations to live your best life.
What's going on, y'all? This is Coach Mike D with another episode of Impact and Fulfillment. Hope y'all are having an amazing day. And I just hope today is amazing. Literally, this is the moment that you have. Let's make the most of it. Let's make the most of it. And speaking of making the most of the moment, I want you to be very mindful of the culture that you embrace. The culture that you embrace. A lot of times people will talk about culture and they will state it very loosely, right? And a lot of times people talk about culture and they're really talking about race, right? They're really talking about, the type of music or the neighborhood you came from or the music you listen to or maybe your socioeconomic status. They'll talk about all of those things as it pertains to culture, right? But the thing is, when it comes down to it, however you personally define culture, this collective set of ideals, these desired traits that a group of people aspire to or work towards achieving, right? That culture, that collective mentality, so to speak, however you personally define culture, the culture that you actually align yourself with and the culture that you embrace will determine the direction and the trajectory that you head in. So as we think about impact, the delta of your involvement, right? How things get better or worse based off of you being involved in that situation, that will be directly correlated with the culture that you personally embrace. Because that culture will influence your beliefs. That culture will influence your actions. That culture will influence both directly and indirectly how you operate. Because if you embrace a specific culture and that then gets infused in everything that you do and everything that you project, you actually start living a life that is in alignment with that culture subconsciously. You don't even realize that you dress a certain way, that you talk a certain way, that you use certain references and or examples when you're communicating, that you find certain things funny and other things offensive, whether or not they have direct implications on your life. This stuff all stems back to the culture that you embrace. Literally, that can have direct implications on your impact in life. But the culture that you embrace also has direct implications on your level of fulfillment. That level of peace that you achieve through whatever it is you decide to do in your life and what you decide to, embark upon on your day-to-day activities. That level of fulfillment will be in direct alignment with the culture that you embrace. Because if the culture that you embrace celebrates something, if you're in that trajectory, guess what? You're going to feel good about yourself. But if the culture that you embrace rejects that thing that you're working towards or is not in alignment with the direction that you're headed in, guess what? You're going to have some conflicting thoughts, feelings, and emotions on a day-to-day basis, which is going to limit or hamper your level of fulfillment. So I said all of this to say we must be very mindful of the culture that we embrace. We have to be very mindful of the inputs that we allow to get embedded inside of us and to then, in essence, grow and cause us to think, act, and ultimately be a certain way. Because the culture that you embrace will dictate everything that happens in your specific life. And we have to be mindful of that. So everybody needs to take an inventory of what you believe. You need to take an inventory of what makes you tick. You need to take an inventory of your personal experiences. You need to take an inventory of the people around you. You need to take an inventory of the conversations that you're having on a regular basis. You need to take an inventory of the various things that you listen to, the podcasts, the talks, the sermons, the speeches, the motivational, messages, whatever it is. We need to take an inventory of that. The movies that you watch, the music that you listen to. We really need to take a holistic inventory of everything that comes in to our world. Because those are the things that influence the type of culture that we embrace. And full transparency, once you take a full inventory, you'll get a clear look at the culture that you ultimately embrace. You don't even have to do it for yourself. If you were to take a look at everyone else's inputs, you'll get a pretty clear vision of the culture that they embrace. And by understanding the culture that they embrace, you can probably gather the direction that they're headed in. And so, good, bad, or indifferent, we need to be aware of the culture that we embrace. We need to be aware of the upsides, but also the downsides of the culture that we embrace. But then ultimately, we have to make sure that the culture that we embrace is in alignment with God, our creator, one. And we also, on top of that, need to make sure it is in alignment with the gifts, talents, skills, and family structure and everything that we have in place. Because if it's not, again, you may have impact, but that fulfillment piece, it's not going to be there. So be very mindful of the culture that you embrace. There are direct implications on your impact and your fulfillment. And it could be good, could be not so good. Either way, be aware, be mindful, and take the proper action. Okay? Well, hey, as always, this is Coach Mike D. Follow Coach Mike D, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere, man. Visit CoachMikeD.com. Subscribe to this podcast if you've not already done so. Please leave some ratings on whatever platform you're listening to this thing on. Share it out and literally go be great. Y'all be blessed, well, and wise. I'll holler at you. Peace.
I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and follow Coach Mike D everywhere on social media. Y'all be blessed, well, and wise.